It was nearly midnight when the knock came. 3 slow, deliberate taps against the wood, muffled only slightly by the sound of wind curling around the eaves of the house. Elena froze on the couch, her hand still wrapped around a half-full mug of tea gone cold. She hadn't expected anyone else tonight. The last of the trick-or-treaters had come hours ago, before the fog rolled in, before the streets emptied and silence took over the neighborhood like a thick, creeping thing. The knock came again, slower this time, heavier, as if whoever stood on the other side wasn't knocking so much as letting the house know they were waiting. She stood, every hair on her body rising, the mug forgotten on the coffee table. She moved toward the door, not because she wanted to, but because some part of her, the part that remembered too much, had already guessed. Halloween was always hard. Not because she hated it, not even because it reminded her of the past. It was just the night everything hummed, the veil thinner, the silence deeper. And on this night, 5 years ago, Jasmine vanished. On the night that should have been her wedding. Elena's fingers hovered over the lock. It was stupid, irrational, but her chest ached with the weight of something unsaid, something unfinished. The porch light flickered. The fog outside swallowed the street whole. And when she finally opened the door, she saw her, Jasmine, standing there in a tattered wedding dress, soaked with something darker than rain. Her feet bare and dirty. Her eyes empty, not like a corpse, not hollow, but void, haunted. And yet she was still beautiful, unbearably. Jasmine, Elena breathed, the name torn from her throat like a secret never meant to be spoken. Jasmine didn't move. She stood, trembling slightly, her mouth open just enough to show cracked lips and teeth stained red. Her veil hung limp across one shoulder. Her bouquet was gone. And her hands, Elena couldn't stop staring at her hands. Scraped raw, as if she had clawed her way out of something. "Please," Jasmine said. Her voice was a rasp, fragile, breaking under its own weight. "Let me in." Elena stepped back. She didn't think, didn't breathe. She just opened the door wider and Jasmine moved, slow and uncertain, like someone learning how to walk again. The air grew colder with every step she took. The floor creaked beneath her feet. Elena closed the door behind her. "You're dead," she said. Jasmine turned. Her eyes shimmered, not with life, but with memory. "I know. You disappeared. They said you ran, that you left him. No one ever found you." Jasmine's lips trembled. "I tried. I ran. But I never got here. I never made it." Elena's heart cracked. "You were coming to me? Where else would I go?" The words hit her like a punch, because it had been the secret no one talked about. How close they were. How often Jasmine lingered after rehearsals. How she once held Elena's hand too long after an emotional scene. How her eyes always flicked toward her when no one was watching. And the night before her wedding, Jasmine kissed her. Soft, scared, real. And then she said, "If I don't show up tomorrow, will you wait for me?" And Elena had said yes. And Jasmine never came. "I died on the way," Jasmine said now. "He found me, caught me. I tried to fight, but," she looked down. Her ribs were bruised, torn, as if crushed. "I didn't make it. How are you here?" Elena whispered. "It's Halloween," Jasmine said. The door opened. "I don't know how long I have, but I remembered your voice. I followed it." Elena's eyes filled. "What do you want from me?" Jasmine stepped closer. "To tell you the truth, and to ask if it's too late." Elena reached out, hand trembling, and touched her. Jasmine flinched, but the contact held. Skin cold, soft, but real. Elena sobbed. "I never stopped waiting." Jasmine closed her eyes. "Then maybe I'm not too late after all." But something in the house shifted then. The lights flickered. A shadow passed behind the hallway, and Jasmine's entire body tensed. "He knows," she whispered. "He knows I'm here. He never let go." Elena backed up. "You mean your fiancé?" Jasmine nodded slowly. "He never stopped looking. Even now. Even after death. He's bound to me." Then what do? Jasmine met her eyes. We run. Or we fight. But either way, you have to choose. Elena stared at her. The girl she loved. The ghost she'd mourned. The woman standing barefoot in her living room, asking her to defy death itself. And something deep inside her said yes. Again. Jasmine stood in the living room like a memory made flesh, a specter that didn't belong, and yet belonged more deeply than anything Elena had ever known. The space around her felt stretched, like time was warping just to allow her presence, as if the air itself held its breath. Elena couldn't stop staring at her, not just because she was there, impossibly, terrifyingly there, but because despite the torn dress, the blood that no longer pulsed, the eyes that shimmered with something not quite human anymore, Jasmine looked at her like she had 5 years ago. Like no time had passed. Like she had never wanted to leave. Elena moved closer, each step uncertain, her heart caught somewhere between terror and longing. You said he's still looking for you, she whispered. That he's bound to you. What does that mean? Jasmine's lips parted, but her answer never came. The temperature dropped instantly, sharp and biting. The windows rattled. A single picture frame on the shelf trembled, then launched itself to the floor, glass shattering. Jasmine flinched. He's here, she whispered. Elena turned, her body instinctively moving in front of Jasmine, even though she knew there was nothing she could physically fight. He followed you? He never stopped, Jasmine said, voice shaking. Even in death. When I died, his rage didn't end. His soul, it twisted. And now he's not just a man. He's something else. Something that clings. That hunts. Elena grabbed Jasmine's cold hand. Then we're not staying here. Jasmine didn't move. I can't leave yet. I'm tied to the place I died. To the memories I never finished. Where did you die? In the woods. Behind the church. I never even made it to the road. Elena's stomach turned. They searched for weeks. He buried me deep. But I never passed on. I stayed. Hoping someone would hear me. Her eyes filled with something like tears, but none fell. Hoping you would. A loud bang echoed from the hallway. A door slammed shut. Then another. The lights flickered once. Twice. Then died. Darkness swallowed the house. Elena's breath caught. She reached for her phone, but the screen stayed black. Jasmine squeezed her hand. He's not whole, she said. Not like me. He's fragments. Hatred. Possession. He comes in pieces. But if he gathers enough of himself, he'll take me back. Over my dead body, Elena said. Jasmine's eyes flicked toward her, and something flickered across her pale face. Grief, fear, and something warmer beneath it. You shouldn't have waited for me, she said softly. I did, Elena replied. I always would. A soft sound came from the stairs. A creak. Then another. Someone or something was walking down. Jasmine stepped back, but her hand remained locked in Elena's. He knows you. He remembers your name. You were always the one thing I wanted that he couldn't control. Then he's going to hate what happens next. They didn't wait. Elena pulled Jasmine into the kitchen and toward the back door, but it wouldn't open. The lock twisted on its own. Sealed. Jasmine gasped. He's trying to trap us. He needs me back in the same place I died. We're not letting him win, Elena said. Not this time. A whisper filled the room, but it wasn't a voice, it was breath. Cold, unnatural. It circled them. Jasmine began to shake. Her form flickered, like static in a bad signal. He's pulling me, she said. He wants to break the tether. Elena turned to her. Look at me. You're not going anywhere. I won't let him have you. Not again. Jasmine looked up, her ghostly fingers brushing Elena's cheek. I never got to tell you, she said, voice breaking. That night, I wasn't just running from him. I was running to you. I know. Do you? Elena cupped her face, cold skin beneath warm hands. I've never loved anyone the way I loved you. The way I still do. Jasmine's lips parted. And then she kissed her. Desperate. Cold. Real. And the house screamed. The walls trembled. The floor moaned beneath them. But Jasmine stopped flickering. Her body steadied. Her presence solidified. "That's what keeps me here," she whispered. "You." But something else rose with it. A howl. Inhuman. Rage turned into form. And behind them, in the reflection of the darkened window, a figure stood. Not whole. Just eyes. And teeth. And the outline of a man Elena had never met, but had always hated. "Run," Jasmine whispered. Elena didn't hesitate. She grabbed a flashlight from the drawer, the only thing still working, and dragged Jasmine toward the basement. It wasn't smart, but it was the only door still open. As they descended into the darkness, Elena's mind raced. What did he want? Just Jasmine? Or both of them? What was left of him? And why now? Why had he waited 5 years? Unless he hadn't. "You said you were buried," Elena asked, breathless. "But they never found your body." Jasmine nodded. "Because he buried me under the church, the place we were supposed to be married." Elena froze. "He never let you leave. Not even in death." And suddenly Elena understood. The haunting, the tether, the unfinished story. Jasmine hadn't come back just to see her. She had come back to escape. To finish what never began. To rewrite the night that destroyed her. But to do that, they'd have to face him. The stairs groaned beneath their feet, would bending under the pressure of their bodies and the weight of everything that had been left unsaid for 5 years. Elena gripped Jasmine's hand tightly, afraid that if she let go for even a second, she'd vanish, evaporate like a dream chased too hard upon waking. The flashlight flickered in her free hand as they reached the bottom of the basement, where the concrete walls pressed in like a tomb and the cold air wrapped around them like breath from something that shouldn't be breathing. Jasmine moved cautiously, her dress whispering against the stone steps, leaving faint trails of dirt and blood behind her. "He did something down here," she said, her voice barely a whisper. "This place it remembers." The moment her foot touched the floor, the air shifted. The silence wasn't silence anymore. It was layered, breathing, pulsing, watching. Elena scanned the basement, but there was nothing but old furniture draped in sheets, rusted tools on the wall, a rotting workbench covered in dust. But then she saw it. A corner of the room where the concrete looked newer. Cleaner. Different. Jasmine saw it too. "That's where he put it," she said. "The tether." Elena stepped forward, her heartbeat pounding like it was trying to speak. "The tether? To me. To here. To this house. To the moment he stole from me. That night I told you I'd run. I planned everything. I even packed a bag. But he knew. He always knew. He waited. And when I tried to leave through the back of the church, he dragged me down here." She swallowed hard. "He didn't just kill me. He buried the part of me that still wanted to live." Elena knelt in front of a spot. The concrete was smooth, newer than the rest. She reached for a rusted crowbar on the shelf, fingers trembling. Jasmine stood behind her, and Elena could feel her cold presence, steadying her. "Are you sure?" Elena asked. "It's the only way," Jasmine said. "If we break the tether, he loses his grip." Elena struck the ground. The concrete cracked. Again. And again. Until it split wide enough to reveal dirt beneath. Then something else. Cloth. White. Stained red and brown. A veil. Jasmine's veil. Elena pulled it free with shaking hands. Beneath it, bones. A ring. A single white shoe. "He buried this part of you," Elena said, breathless. "To keep you here." "He wanted me to rot," Jasmine whispered. "But I never decayed. I stayed in between." Elena reached into the hole and lifted the ring, silver, heavy, engraved with initials she didn't recognize. The moment her skin touched it, the lights above them exploded. Jasmine cried out and fell to her knees, clutching her chest. "He knows," she gasped. "He's waking." A wind rose out of nowhere inside the basement. Dust flew. Tools clattered. And the voice came. "Love what you've seen so far and want to help me keep creating these awesome stories on this channel? Then subscribe and hit the bell. Your subscription supports the channel and makes sure you get more exciting stories.
Low.
Hateful. Inside Elena's head. You think you can take her from me? Elena stood, facing nothing and everything. She was never yours.
She said yes to me.
She said yes because you gave her no choice. You built a cage and called it a chapel. You think she loves you? She ran from you, too. Jasmine's scream cut through the dark. Don't listen. Elena gritted her teeth. She came to me. You stopped her. And now she's here. She chose me, even in death. The floor trembled. The concrete cracked wider. From the shadows, something began to emerge, not fully formed, a shape built from hate and memory and broken love. A man's figure, faceless and hollow, made of smoke and bone and the scent of dirt and decay. Jasmine crawled toward Elena, her strength fading. Her form shimmered like it might collapse. He's pulling me back. No, Elena said, taking her face in both hands. You stay with me. Do you hear me? Jasmine's eyes welled with a light, not tears, but something stronger. Why do you still love me? Because you're the only thing I've never let go of. Because I saw you, even when you were hidden behind everything he forced you to be. Jasmine's breath hitched. Then anchor me.
How?
Jasmine lifted her trembling hand and placed it over Elena's heart. Let me in. Elena didn't understand, but she didn't need to. She opened herself, and Jasmine moved closer. Their lips met again, this time slower, this time deeper. Jasmine's body faded as she kissed her, not disappearing, but folding into Elena, becoming light, heat, breath. Elena gasped and stumbled back, the ring still clutched in her hand. Jasmine wasn't gone. She was inside, a part of her now. And the moment the connection sealed, the tether snapped. The ring shattered. The figure howled. The basement collapsed in on itself, the spirit screaming as its anchor was destroyed. But Elena stood unharmed, heart racing, skin buzzing. Jasmine's voice in her mind, calm and soft. You brought me back. Elena fell to her knees. Not out of fear, out of relief, out of overwhelming, burning love. Jasmine was with her now, not haunting, not ghosting, but living inside the place Elena had kept empty for 5 long years. And for the first time, the silence felt holy. The silence after the storm was unnerving. Elena sat on the floor of the living room, dust and debris clinging to her skin, the faint scent of dirt and old rot still lingering in the air. The house above the basement was intact, but something fundamental had shifted. The oppressive pressure, the feeling of being watched, the cold grip of that lingering presence, it was gone. Jasmine was quiet now, but not absent. Elena could feel her, not like a voice or a thought, but like a pulse beneath her own. A warmth in her chest that hadn't been there for 5 years. A flicker behind her eyes. It wasn't haunting. It was intimacy. Jasmine's essence moved through her gently, never invading, never forcing. Just existing alongside her, like a second soul that curled against her own. And yet, Elena could tell something was wrong, because every time she closed her eyes, she saw places she didn't know. A corridor lined with mirrors, none reflecting her face. A chapel made of bone-white trees, petals falling like snow. And always in the center, Jasmine, crying, bleeding, running, but not from the man who killed her. From something else. Elena stood, moving slowly to the bathroom. Her reflection met her in the mirror. But her eyes, they shimmered faintly. Gold?
No.
Something deeper. She touched the glass. Jasmine? A whisper bloomed in her mind. I see it too. See what? What I don't remember. What never happened. And yet gets inside me. Elena exhaled slowly. Why would you have memories of things that don't exist? Because maybe they do. Just not here. That night, Elena tried to sleep. Her body gave in, but her mind didn't. And when the dream took her, it wasn't a dream at all. It was Jasmine's memory, only not. She stood in a field under a lavender sky. The wind smelled like something sweet, almost electric. Jasmine walked ahead of her, wearing a black wedding dress stitched with stars. Her eyes were glowing. Not scared. Powerful. Elena tried to speak, but no sound came. Jasmine turned to her, mouth opening, but the moment she did, the sky fractured. A scream tore through the ground, and Elena woke up gasping. She sat up in bed, heart pounding, and Jasmine's voice echoed through her like thunder in her ribs. "I don't think I was supposed to come back." "What do you mean?" Elena whispered. "Something else came through with me. Orc was waiting. Something old. Something that's wearing pieces of me like a dress." Elena felt cold again, but not the same kind of cold as before. This was internal, like her blood recognized something ancient moving inside it. She stood, pacing, trying to make sense of what she was feeling. "Are you saying you're not just Jasmine?" "I'm still me," the voice insisted. "But parts of me feel like they were touched before I ever met you. Before I was born." By what? By something that calls itself the bride beneath. The name hit Elena like a fist. She didn't know it, and yet it struck her like a forgotten prayer. "What is it?" "I don't know, but it lives between veils. It feeds on abandoned brides, on love that never completes, on women like me." Elena sat down, her hands trembling. "Why did it come with you?" "Because I was open. Because I wasn't just a soul. I was a wound. And something slipped in." "Are you still you?" There was a pause. "Then yes. But there's more. And it's waking." Over the next days, the changes became harder to ignore. Elena would lose moments of time, find herself in rooms she didn't remember walking into, writing in notebooks she didn't own. And every time she touched water, reflections shimmered with faces that weren't hers or Jasmine's. The worst was the whisper. Not Jasmine, not Elena, but a third voice, feminine, heavy with sorrow. "Where is my veil? Where is my groom? Where is my ending?" Jasmine began to dim. Not disappear, but get quieter, as if something was pressing her down. "Talk to me," Elena begged one night, standing in front of the mirror, her fingers gripping the edges of the sink. "You're slipping." Jasmine's voice came faintly. "She's inside me, trying to finish her own story." "What story?" "One where she never makes it to the altar. One where she was left, forgotten. And now she wears every bride who died without closure. She thought I was another vessel, but I'm tethered to you. That's what's keeping me here." Elena stared at her reflection, and for a second, it blinked out of sync. Then it smiled. Not her smile. Something older.
"Cool."
Jasmine screamed in her chest. "Don't let her in." The lights in the house went out. Every door slammed shut. And a voice rose from the shadows, not from a ghost. From something divine in its rage. "He took your love, but I can finish it. I can wear you like a promise. I can complete what he broke. Let me be the bride he destroyed." Elena backed away from the mirror. "You can't have her." "I already do." Jasmine surged then. Her presence flared in Elena's chest, hot and blinding. The mirror cracked.
The voice shrieked.
And for a moment, the house fell silent again. But Elena knew better. Something was still watching. And Jasmine was still fighting. But for how long? Elena had never lit candles for the dead. Not in a real way. Not the way you were supposed to, carefully, reverently, with intention behind each flicker of flame. But now she moved through the living room barefoot, a box of white wax sticks in one hand and salt in the other, drawing a protective circle around herself as thunder crawled across the sky. Halloween was over. The veil was closed. But the house had stayed thin. Open. Like a wound that refused to heal. Jasmine was barely speaking now. Her voice inside Elena had faded to a flicker, and Elena knew why. The thing inside her, the bride beneath, was growing stronger by the hour. It had taken root in Jasmine's spirit and now slithered its way through Elena's mind, wearing longing like a cloak, whispering seduction into her thoughts. It didn't threaten. It offered. Offered to rewrite the ending. To give Jasmine her wedding day. To give Elena her bride. "You want her whole," the voice said. "Let me make her whole." But Elena didn't want a version of Jasmine dressed in someone else's tragedy. She wanted the woman who once asked her, "If I don't show up tomorrow, will you wait for me?" And she had. For 5 years. She was still waiting. But not passively. Not anymore. She opened the last book she had, one not bought or borrowed, but found in a dream 2 nights before. Its pages were brittle, written in a language she didn't know, and yet somehow understood. It was a ritual of memory immersion, something older than any religion. A rite that allowed the living to step into the past of the dead, to see it, feel it, and, if strong enough, reshape it. But there was a cost. To remember fully is to suffer fully. Elena sat cross-legged in the center of the salt circle, candles flickering, her blood pricked by a single thorn from the dead bouquet Jasmine once carried. She dripped a drop of blood onto the ring she had recovered from the basement, the broken one, still cold. And then, she whispered Jasmine's name 3 times. The world folded in. It wasn't like sleep. It was like drowning, being pulled backward through time by threads made of fire and water. And when she opened her eyes, she wasn't Elena anymore. She was Jasmine. The first thing she felt was the corset, tight, too tight. Her ribs ached. Her breath was shallow. Her hands trembled as she stared down at the white satin dress. It was clean, beautiful, untorn. A reflection showed her face, flushed, wide-eyed, painted. She looked terrified. "You ready?" a voice asked behind her.
Male. Smooth.
But hollow. She turned. Her fiancé stood in the doorway.
Tall.
Smiling. Dead behind the eyes. "You're perfect," he said. And Jasmine, Elena, smiled back, brittle and breaking. He stepped closer. Took her hand. "You're not cold feet on me now, are you?" "No," Jasmine's voice said. But her soul was screaming.
Run. Run. Run.
He leaned in, whispered something in her ear. Something possessive. Something cruel. Elena couldn't process it. She just felt the nausea rise, the fury boil. And then she saw it. Jasmine's bag. Hidden beneath the vanity.
Packed.
Ready. The real plan. The escape. She had minutes. Maybe less. When the groom left, Elena, still trapped in Jasmine's body, moved quickly. She grabbed the bag. Snuck through the side door. Out into the night. She was still wearing the dress. It was the only way. A symbol. A statement. She didn't want to shed it. She wanted to reclaim it. The church lights flickered behind her. She ran. Branches scratched her skin. The woods behind the chapel were cold, alive with whispers and wind. Her feet bled. The bag was heavy. And in the dark, Elena felt Jasmine's panic. Her love. Her guilt. I should have said it. I should have told her I loved her. I should have gone sooner. Every step was agony. Her lungs burned. And then footsteps behind her.
Fast.
Too fast.
She turned.
He was there. "You ungrateful little bitch," he spat. He tackled her. They crashed into the dirt. She screamed.
Kicked. Bit.
But he was stronger. Her dress tore. Her veil fell. "You were mine," he snarled. "Say it." "I never was," she hissed. And that was when he struck her. The first hit, then the second, until her body gave out, until her blood soaked the white, until she couldn't move, until everything went black. Elena sobbed, living it all, trapped inside a memory too real to escape. The moment of death. The silence. And then a whisper. Not Jasmine. Not the man. A third. Feminine. Patient. "Would you like to finish the story?" Elena gasped.
She was in a void now.
The memory had passed, but the echo remained. She turned and saw her. The bride beneath. Dressed in veils made of bone and sorrow. Eyes that bled. A mouth stitched shut, now slowly unraveling. "You feed on love that never got to bloom," Elena whispered. "You wear brides like masks. I give them what they never had. I rewrite the endings. I let them walk again. Feel again. Love again. You possess them. I fulfill them." You almost stole Jasmine. She wanted to finish. She never got her kiss. Her promise. Her hand in yours. Elena trembled. But it wasn't your story to finish. The bride tilted her head. Then whose is it?
Ours.
A light bloomed behind her. A warmth. Jasmine's voice. Not inside Elena this time, but beside her.
Whole. Solid.
Radiant. You don't get to wear me anymore, Jasmine said. I'm not your symbol. I'm not your dress. The bride shrieked. Wind tore through the void. But Jasmine held Elena's hand. And together, they walked through it. They walked through sorrow. Through death. Through rage. And the veils tore away. One by one. Until the voice faded. Until the scream died. Until the only thing left was them. Elena woke up gasping. The candles were all out. The house was still. But Jasmine stood before her. Not transparent. Not spectral.
Real. Alive. How?
Elena whispered. Jasmine knelt, cupping her face. You remembered for me. You gave me back the moment. And I chose not to stay in death. You're here. I'm yours. They kissed.
Warm.
Desperate.
Alive.
The bride was gone. The nightmare ended. But the love, finally, was real. Jasmine was alive. Not just in presence, not just in some spectral, half-anchored form, but alive in a way that made Elena question everything she believed about life and death. She bled. She breathed. She slept curled against Elena with a hand pressed to her ribs, still instinctively guarding the place where the fatal blow had once landed. But the world hadn't stopped for them. The town kept moving. Lights flicked on. Mail was delivered. The sky broke into sunrise like nothing had happened. And yet, everything had. Elena kept her blinds closed. She didn't know how to explain it. How do you tell the world that your dead lover walked out of the grave and into your arms? How do you explain the warmth in your bed that wasn't supposed to exist anymore? Jasmine hadn't eaten yet, hadn't touched food or water. And still, she moved like someone full of breath and blood. It disturbed Elena at first, until she asked, and Jasmine said quietly, I don't think I'm what I used to be. Then what are you? Elena asked. Still yours, Jasmine said, pressing her lips softly to Elena's. That night, they made love for the first time in a bed, not haunted by loss but lit with something raw and aching and new. Jasmine's body trembled beneath Elena's hands, not from fear but from the shock of being felt, of being touched with tenderness instead of terror. And Elena cried, not out of grief, but gratitude. For this moment, this body, this love that survived everything. But the next morning, the mirror cracked again. No wind. No impact, just a thin fracture across the glass, spidering from the center out like something had stared too hard from the other side. Elena found Jasmine in the hallway, eyes distant. What did you see? Elena asked. Jasmine didn't answer at first. Then, I had a dream, but it wasn't mine. I was standing in water, wearing white, and there were others. Dozens of us. All brides. All lost. All waiting. Elena's heart tightened. You think it's connected to the bride beneath? I think I was never the first. Jasmine walked slowly toward the bathroom mirror, touched the cracked glass. Something left the door open when I came back. Something ancient. Something that feeds on us because we never had endings. But you did, Elena said, stepping behind her. We rewrote yours. Maybe that's why I'm different. Jasmine turned. Maybe I'm what happens when love finishes. But Elena could feel it. Something wasn't done. Something else was watching. Jasmine sat in the living room that night with one of Elena's old journals in her lap. She flipped through pages of things Elena had written in the years after her death. Dreams, fragments, moments when she imagined what Jasmine would say if she could. You never moved on, Jasmine whispered. I couldn't, Elena said. I kept looking for you in every woman I met, every voice, every song, every dream. Jasmine leaned into her. Maybe that's why I found my way back. You called so loudly I couldn't stay gone. Their kiss was slow,
Deep.
familiar, but something pulsed in Jasmine's veins. Not desire, not entirely, Elena felt it, an energy beneath her skin that didn't feel human. Jasmine pulled back suddenly. I'm not cold, she whispered. I should be cold. You're not a ghost. But I'm not entirely alive either. That night, Jasmine walked into the backyard barefoot. The grass didn't bend under her. Her reflection in the windows didn't blink in sync, and the moonlight made her eyes glow faintly silver. Elena followed. Jasmine, I feel them, she whispered. All the others. The ones she didn't let go. The other brides? They're not resting. They're not free. And they're calling. Calling you. Calling us. Elena froze. Why? Jasmine turned, her hair lifting slightly in a breeze that didn't touch Elena. Because we finished something that was never supposed to end. Because we broke a pattern that fed her. And now she's weaker. But she's not gone. What are you saying? Jasmine stepped closer. I think we're becoming something else. A beacon. A threat. A beginning. Elena reached for her. I just wanted you back. That's all. And you got me, Jasmine said, pressing her forehead to Elena's. But now the world won't let us stay quiet. We're not just lovers anymore. We're proof. We're disruption. And she's watching. Then let her watch. But the next morning, the air was heavy, the sky gray without reason, and 3 black birds perched on the windowsill, watching.
Silent.
Jasmine stood at the kitchen sink, hand trembling slightly. A bruise had formed on her wrist.
Faint.
Shaped like a hand that had never touched her here. Elena rushed to her. Did you fall? Jasmine shook her head. I think she's reaching again. Testing my body. Trying to wear me again. She remembers I was hers. Elena burned with fury. You're mine. Jasmine looked up. Then claim me. Not just in love. In soul. Elena's breath caught. What does that mean? It means we don't just wait for her to try again. We go to her. Together. We find the place she lives. The lake of brides. The last altar. And we end it for everyone. Elena stared at her. The girl she once loved from afar. The ghost she mourned. The woman now reborn as something luminous, terrifying, and still hers. You'd go back. Not to die, Jasmine said. To unmake her.
How?
Jasmine smiled. With love. With rage. And with you. The lake was still. Quiet. It no longer breathed beneath their feet, no longer whispered forgotten vows or exhaled the sighs of the dead. It was only water now, just water. And yet, Elena and Jasmine stood at its edge for a long time, fingers laced tightly, as if the world might undo what they had just fought to claim. Jasmine looked different in the light. The night had stripped her of the ghostliness she once carried. Her skin glowed with something that wasn't entirely human, but wasn't monstrous either. Her eyes were clear, too clear, like mirrors that reflected not just this world, but something deeper. She was whole. Elena could feel it, but she was also other. They walked back through the woods together, the path feeling heavier now, as if the ground had memorized too much. Every step away from the lake felt like a new choice, a new world they were entering without knowing what rules had changed. At the edge of the forest, they paused. The church was visible through the trees, still abandoned, still silent. But something about it felt different now. Lighter. No longer holding secrets behind stained glass. We should go, Jasmine said quietly, before someone sees us. Sees what? Elena asked. 2 women walking out of the woods, one of whom has been legally dead for 5 years. Elena nodded slowly. Right. They slipped through the shadows, avoiding the road, taking back paths until they reached Elena's house. The porch light flickered as they approached, not ominous, just old wiring. Still, it made them pause. They entered quietly, as if they didn't want to disturb the walls. As if the house might somehow reject the new energy they brought back with them. But it didn't. It welcomed them. Jasmine stepped into the kitchen and touched the countertop. It still smells like you, she whispered. Elena turned to her. Are you really okay? Jasmine met her eyes. I'm not sure what okay means anymore. But I'm here. I'm real. and I'm not going anywhere. They kissed in the doorway, slow and aching. But the peace didn't last long. The next morning, Elena's phone rang. A number she didn't recognize. She didn't answer. A minute later, a knock at the door. Jasmine hid. Elena opened the door. A woman stood there. Late 40s. Sharp eyes. Kind voice.
Hi.
Sorry to bother you. My name's Maris Devine. I work with the Missing Persons Department. Elena froze. Is this about Jasmine Hale? You knew her? Elena nodded slowly. She was a friend. Did you know that someone recently reported strange activity near the old church where she disappeared? I know. I haven't been out that way. Maris looked at her carefully.
Funny.
Your neighbor said they saw 2 women coming out of the woods 2 nights ago. One of them looked an awful lot like Jasmine Hale. Elena forced a smile. That's impossible. Is it? Maris took out a photograph. It was blurry, but it was them, Elena and Jasmine, crossing the road near the treeline. If someone was pretending to be her, it would be a serious offense, Maris said. Impersonating a missing person.
Fraud.
Identity theft. Possibly worse. She's dead, Elena said flatly. I buried her in my heart a long time ago. That's what the report says. But you'd be amazed how many people come back. Maris handed her a card. If she reaches out to you, I need to know. Elena closed the door with shaking hands. Jasmine emerged from the hallway, barefoot, pale, eyes wide. She knows. She suspects, Elena corrected. But she doesn't know what she's looking at. No one does. Jasmine moved to the window. If they find out I'm alive, you're not, Elena said. Not in the way they understand. So what am I? Elena walked to her, took her face in both hands. You're mine. That's all I need to know. But Jasmine didn't look convinced. That night, she couldn't sleep. Elena woke up to find her sitting on the floor, surrounded by open books, candles, the veil she once wore laid out like an offering. What are you doing? Elena asked. Trying to understand what I am, Jasmine whispered. If I'm still tethered, if I'm still a gate. You're not. We closed it. But the veil's thinner than ever. I can feel it. There are dreams in the corners of this house that don't belong to either of us. They're trying to use me again. Elena stepped closer. Then we fight. Together. But Jasmine looked up, tears in her eyes. What if I'm not strong enough? What if keeping me here means leaving the door open? Elena knelt. Then we'll close it. Again. And again. However many times it takes. I didn't bring you back to lose you again. Jasmine nodded slowly. Then there's one thing we have to do. What? Burn my dress. The wedding gown. The one that tethered her to the trauma. The one soaked in old blood. They dug it out of the closet where Jasmine had hidden it. Folded it gently. Took it to the fire pit behind the house. Jasmine lit the match. Elena held her hand. As the flames caught, the air around them shimmered. A whisper passed through the trees. Thank you. And somewhere, the veil pulled tighter. Jasmine turned to Elena, eyes gleaming with tears. That part of me is gone now. Elena kissed her.
Good.
I only want the you that chose to stay. Even if I'm not human anymore? You were never just human to me. But far away, in the woods, something stirred. A figure stepped into moonlight. Maris Devine. Watching. Listening. Not entirely human herself. Her eyes glinted silver. And she smiled. It began with silence. Not the silence of peace or stillness, but the kind that watches. The kind that wraps around your ribs like cold hands and makes your skin itch before your mind knows why. Elena woke first. Jasmine wasn't beside her. The sheets were still warm, but the air wasn't. She followed the faint creak of floorboards down the hallway, her breath catching as she found Jasmine standing barefoot in the middle of the living room, staring out the window. She's here, Jasmine whispered. Maris? Jasmine nodded once. She's not just looking. She's waiting. Elena joined her by the window. The street was empty, no car, no figure. Just trees swaying, wind humming low like a warning. What is she? Jasmine's eyes didn't blink. Not human. Not a ghost. Something older. I feel it when she's close. Like the lake did when I stepped on it. Like she's made of rules and rituals. A keeper? A guardian. Jasmine corrected. Of balance. Of order. Of the line between here and there. Then she knows. She always knew. The knock came before either of them could speak again. 3 soft, deliberate taps. Elena's chest tightened. Jasmine reached out, her hand sliding into Elena's. Let me answer it. Are you sure? She didn't come for you. Elena stepped back. Jasmine opened the door. And there she was. Maris Devine. Dressed in a long coat the color of dusk, her silver-streaked hair tied in a low knot, eyes sharper than glass, but full of something worse than judgment, certainty. Jasmine Hale, she said calmly. You've made quite a mess. Jasmine didn't speak. Maris stepped inside uninvited. The lights flickered behind her. You weren't meant to come back. You know that. The veil was sealed. I didn't cross it, Jasmine said. I was pulled through. Maris's eyes flicked to Elena.
Yes.
She pulled you. With love. With grief. With desperation. The strongest magic of all. Then you understand, Elena said. She didn't steal life. She reclaimed it. Maris turned slowly to face her. And in doing so, she left the door open. The lake is quiet now, yes, but the space she took up is missing. There's a hole in the fabric of things. And holes attract things that slither. Jasmine stepped forward. I didn't ask to be used. I didn't ask to be brought back by something twisted. And yet here you are.
Alive.
Unbalanced. Unwritten. Then write me, Jasmine snapped. Give me a new page. Maris studied her for a long moment. You misunderstand my role. I don't give. I restore. And to restore what you broke, you must return. No, you must choose, Maris said, suddenly calm again. I am not a monster. I offer choices. I offer understanding. I offer alternatives. She held out a small black box. Jasmine stared at it. What is that? A vessel, Maris said. An ancient seal. One that can close your soul in safety. You won't fade. You won't feel. You'll rest. No pain. No longing. No loose ends. Just quiet. Elena moved between them. And if she refuses? Then I cannot protect you from what's coming next. What's coming? The consequences, Maris said. The veil doesn't forgive imbalance. It will correct it, with or without my hand. But I prefer clean endings. So she either gives herself up, or the world collapses? Not the world. Just your corner of it. Your love. Your warmth. Your home. Jasmine looked at the box. At Elena. At the ring still on her hand. The broken one Elena had worn on a chain ever since the ritual. There has to be another way, she said. There is, Maris said. You give up your anchor. My what? The tether that holds you here. The heart that called you. The soul that brought you back. Jasmine's breath caught. You mean Elena? She gave part of herself to bring you across. That piece can be reclaimed. If you let her go. No, Elena said instantly. I won't let you take her. Maris turned to her. You already gave her a piece of you. You fed the ritual. Now it calls to deeper things. If you sever it, you sever the thread. Jasmine stays. But you forget.
Completely.
Her name. Her face. The love. The loss. All of it. Jasmine gasped. You want her to forget me? It's the only way to restore balance while keeping your body intact. Your soul can stay, but her memory must go. Elena felt like the ground beneath her had vanished. So, I choose between losing her or losing her. No, Jasmine said. There's a third way. There is no third way, Maris said coldly. But Jasmine ignored her. She turned to Elena, eyes burning with the kind of love that could burn through dimensions. Let me carry it. The bond. The anchor. Let me hold you this time. You'll fade, Elena said. Not if you tether to me. What do you mean? You gave me life. Let me give it back. Not by forgetting. By binding. A soul knot. Old magic. Forbidden. But stronger than anything the veil can touch. You'll be like me, Jasmine whispered. Half here. Half beyond. I don't care. You'll never be normal again. I don't want normal. Maris stepped back, her eyes narrowing. You would break the rules again? Elena and Jasmine faced her together. No, Elena said. We're going to rewrite them. Maris watched them for a long, long moment. Then she smiled, tired, ancient, bittersweet. So be it, she whispered. But the bond must be sealed in sacrifice. What kind of sacrifice? Elena asked. Something precious. Something final. Something human. Jasmine's eyes flicked to the chain around Elena's neck. The ring. Elena held it in her palm. Then take it. Are you sure? Jasmine asked. It brought you back. And now it will keep you. Jasmine took the ring.
Kissed it.
And pressed it to Elena's chest. Words flowed, not English, not Latin. Something older. The house shook. The sky outside howled. Light burst from their joined hands. The bond snapped. Then realigned. The soul knot tightened. And when the storm faded, they were still there. Elena blinked. Jasmine stood before her. No longer glowing, no longer ghost-touched, just real. But something else was inside her now. A spark in her voice. A weight in her presence. Elena reached for her. Are you okay? Jasmine smiled. I am now. Maris stood at the door. You have rewritten something ancient, she said. The world will feel it. The veil will ripple. You have bought peace, but not silence. We don't want silence, Elena said. We want each other. Maris nodded. Then keep each other well. You'll be tested again. She vanished through the door.
Just gone.
Jasmine turned to Elena. Did we win? No, Elena said softly. We chose. And that's stronger than winning. They stood there in silence, hearts beating in sync, the bond humming quietly beneath their skin. But far beneath the veil, something stirred. Something older than even Maris. It opened one eye.
And smiled.
The days that followed were quiet, but not the kind of quiet that came from peace. It was the stillness before something enormous. The kind of stillness that held its breath. Elena could feel it in her bones. Jasmine could feel it in her blood. Their soul knot pulsed between them, an invisible thread that hummed when they touched, when they kissed, when they simply looked at each other across a room. It was beautiful. It was dangerous. They had broken something fundamental, and the world was adjusting. It started with reflections. The mirrors in the house no longer held just their images. Sometimes, when the light was low and the room was silent, Elena would see something behind them, something watching. A face, a veil, a presence ancient and unblinking. Jasmine began to dream in languages she didn't know. She'd wake up whispering names that had no weight in this world. Brides from centuries past. Lovers who vanished on cursed altars. Her skin would burn faintly when she passed through doorways, as if the veil was brushing against her. The lake, they discovered, had dried up completely. Where once there had been black water and ghosts of unfinished love, now there was only cracked earth. But in the center of it, etched into the dirt as if carved by invisible hands, was a symbol neither of them recognized. A circle, a spiral,
a crown.
Elena took a photo. Jasmine trembled. That night, Maris returned. She didn't knock. She appeared, standing in the hallway like she'd always been there. Her eyes darker now.
Sadder.
You called something, she said quietly. By tying your souls, you woke it. The first bride. The origin. Elena stepped in front of Jasmine. What does it want? You. Us. Not your bodies, Maris whispered. Your ending. Why? Jasmine asked. Because you finished the story. The veil wasn't meant to be closed by love. It was built on loss. On imbalance. And when you chose each other, you rewrote the foundation. Good, Elena said. Let it fall. It won't fall, Maris said. It will fight. The sky cracked open that night. Not with thunder. With voices. The town didn't notice. But Elena and Jasmine did. The air shimmered. Lights flickered. Time stuttered. And then the walls of their home vanished. They were standing in the church again. Only it wasn't the church. It was what came before it. Stone walls. Bone pillars. A cathedral of grief. And at the altar stood the first bride. She was massive. Not in size, but in presence. She wore a crown made of vows, twisted and rusted. Her dress shimmered with the threads of every bride who ever wept. Her eyes were black holes.
She didn't speak.
She simply felt. Her rage, her sorrow, her hunger. All of it radiated like fire. "You shouldn't be," she said, her voice layered in every language ever spoken. "You chose love. You chose ending. You chose peace." Elena stood tall.
Yes.
"We did. You broke the cycle. And we do it again. You must be unmade." Jasmine stepped forward. "Try." The first bride raised her hand. The world fractured. Mirrors broke in 1,000 realities. Jasmine's body lifted off the ground. Elena screamed, running toward her, but the air bent between them, pushing her back. Jasmine's dress burned at the edges. The soul knot pulled tight, threads snapping one by one. "You are not eternal," the first bride said. "Love is not power. Love is weakness." "No," Jasmine whispered. "Love is the end of your hunger." Elena reached into her pocket. The broken ring. The one Jasmine once died wearing. She clenched it in her fist, hard enough to draw blood. "You want to end us?" she shouted. "Then take the part of me that brought her back. The grief. The pain. Take it." The first bride hesitated.
Why?
"Because that was your food, wasn't it?" Elena hissed. "You fed on the ache. On the unspoken. But I spoke it. I chose her. I held her. You have nothing left." Jasmine's body dropped to the ground. The altar cracked. The walls shuddered. And the first bride screamed, a sound that split the sky. Jasmine crawled to Elena. "What are you doing?" "Finishing the story," Elena whispered. "Not just ours. Hers." She pressed the broken ring into Jasmine's palm. "Let go." Jasmine closed her eyes, whispered the vow backwards, unmade the moment. The soul knot glowed once, then twice, then shattered like glass. But they didn't fall. They didn't vanish. They held each other, and something changed. The cathedral cracked. The first bride dissolved, not in rage, but in relief. She smiled, just once, and then she was gone. The veil collapsed, not violently, gently, like a curtain lowering at the end of a show. The world returned. The house.
The air.
The light. And Elena and Jasmine stood in the middle of it, trembling.
Real.
Whole. Human. "Is it over?" Elena asked. Maris appeared in the doorway.
Yes.
"The veil has been rewritten. There are no more brides. No more anchors. Just stories. And yours is yours alone." Jasmine looked at Elena. "Do you remember me?" Elena smiled. "Always." They spent the next weeks in a kind of peace that neither of them had ever known. Real peace. No ghosts. No veils. Just slow mornings. Shared coffee. The feel of fingers brushing in kitchens and bookstores. Jasmine learned to breathe again. Elena learned to sleep without fear. They moved. A little house by the ocean. Somewhere quiet. Somewhere forgotten by grief. On the first night there, Jasmine pulled out a new ring. Silver. Simple.
Real.
"Marry me," she said. Elena kissed her. "We already did." "Then let's do it again. But this time, let's be the only ones watching." And under the stars, with only the wind and the waves as witnesses, they said yes. Said always. Said more than fate. Because theirs was not a love haunted. It was a love that haunted back. A love that refused to die. A love that rewrote death. Forever. Thank you so much for being here and for believing in this channel. If you feel in your heart, you can donate with super thanks so I can focus more and more on this project. Your support helps me keep creating these love stories and bringing them to life for you. See you in the next video.